Hello, my name is Deborah Hendrix, and today is February 16th, 2023.
Day after my birthday.
And today I have the pleasure of speaking with, and if you could say your name for us.
My name is Brenda Mims.
Okay. And the purpose of today's conversation is going to be about the area of Springhill here in Gainesville, Florida. So I guess to start out, can you kind of describe your neighborhood and even some of the names of the neighbors and what they did and anything that stands out?
First of all, my family has been in the Springhill area for 6 generations. That is what Vivian was just talking about there. And we have been here. I grew up on Springhill. I just turned 70 years old yesterday. So I have been here and my family has been here. My mother was born and raised here. My grandmother was born and raised here, and her mother, my great-grandmother, was born and raised here. The church right over here next to the Cotton Club Museum, my great-grandmother was one of the founding members of the church over there. My mom's house is right over here. My grandmother's house is right back here. And my family owned property up on 10th Avenue and over on 9th Place too. My grandmother's sister, and actually my grandmother Marie Spivey and her sister Carrie Allen are 2 of the sisters that are being honored tonight. And they both grew up in this community. They both were musicians. They played for several churches. My grandmother played for Mount Olive here, and so did my aunt. My grandmother played the piano. My aunt played the organ, and they also played for other churches. My aunt played for Springhill and Mount Moriah, which is just up the block here, and my grandmother played for St. Paul's CME Church, which is over on Northwest 5th Avenue. So they were in music, and my family was in music. I was singing from a child in the church choir and elementary school choir, high school choir, and I was in the original University of Florida Gospel Choir. So, I've been in Gainesville all my life, and my family, we had a family of 4, my mom and my dad, and one brother, and my brother's on the Cotton Club board here, Otis Stover, and 4 siblings. So we all grew up here, and my parents were working people. My mom was the lunchroom manager at Williams Elementary right up the street, and she worked there for 34 years. So everybody knew my mom because of the school, and my dad worked right down here at Florida Rock, driving trucks. So they were both here, and working people, and my parents have 4 children, and we're all college educated. So they, I made sure all of us, went to school, and all of us went to college. So we are an integral part, and like my brother was just speaking out there, a lot of families here, and it was a very nice community. And the church, grocery store right across there, the building is the building, not the one that has the fence around it. It was Robinson Grocery Store, and G.W. Robinson, who is the builder, he was the owner of the store, and it's G.W. Robinson Builders, but we all knew him as Mr. Wayne. I'm not sure what the G stand for, but we all call him Mr. Wayne, and he was very good, and he left the store and went into real estate stuff. But it was a strong, close-knit community. We all walk right to Lincoln, big families and communities. We all walked to the Williams for elementary school. We walked to Lincoln for high school, and we all went to Lincoln until it closed. And Lincoln closed in the middle of my junior year, which was quite a trying time because it was in the middle of the year. And if they were going to close it to the beginning of the year. So it was a really rough time during that time, but things worked out. I went to GHS the last portion of my junior year and my senior year, and I went to the University of Florida, so there wasn't that many black students there when I went. I started in June of 71, and I graduated March 22nd, 1975, in a little less than 4 years. So all is well, and I just appreciate the education I had. And during the time I was growing up, most of the things were centered around the church and the school. So what us living on 9th Street, a church right there on 8th Street, every time the church doors open, we were there. We were an integral part of the community, and we all were, in activities in school. And so, the things that happened were around here. There were dances at school, at the auditorium. And, our Lincoln High School had a really good football team. And, with football games was right there at Citizens Field. And, they had dances after that. Or the Recreation Center on Northwest 2nd Street. There used to be dances on Saturday night, and my dad would drop us off there and come back and pick us up. So, we're not in the streets or nothing like that, but it was a really good time. I feel like we had a good upbringing, and we all did well. My brother and I still live here. My 2 sisters live in Tampa, but we're all doing well, and we all, I feel like we've been productive citizens. We're all good, never been in any trouble or anything like that. So, but I really enjoy my neighborhood, and now I'm back living over here. Once I got married, I was living in Southwest Gainesville, but I moved back over here like about 92 when I needed to kind of see to my parents who was getting a little ailing a little. But I'm still here, and my daughter lives right over here in my parents' home. So we're still here and a part of this community, and I just thoroughly and enjoyed it. It was, it was a really good community when I was growing up. And, some things happened later on when, drugs and stuff started, but the community is, all fixed. Or I would say, none of that around here now, but, stuff is everywhere. But it's a good community, and we're looking forward to it being like it was before. And my daughter, Monica, who introduced Miss Sarah's daughter, she's very active in community stuff with the city commission, county commission. She keeps up with stuff like that, and so we're all doing well, and we're all still part of the community. And like I said, my brother Otis Stover, who's on the board here. And our home church, Mount Olive, purchased this property and everything and got this started. So, we've been a part of the Cotton Club from initiation, and also to my mom, who was born and raised here, and she graduated from Lincoln High School in 1945. When this was a club, my mom said she used to take up tickets at the door. So my family's been involved with this from way back. So she was, once she got old enough, she did, taking tickets up at the door of the club. Before then, Mom said my grandma wouldn't allow her to come over here because, as a young child, but she did have that little part-time job, taken up. And my mom got to meet some of the, James Brown and B.B. King and all the ones that came here. She got to meet them because, she was over here. But it's been, we have a lot of history here in this community. And as my brother was saying, property owners, my grandmother and her sister owned a whole block up there from 9th Street over to, it's on 10th Avenue, but it was a whole block there that they owned. They had like 8 rental houses. So, our family was, productive citizens and, good people in the community.
Wow. Well, it sounds ideal. Let me ask you one question I've been thinking about this question. Everybody talks about how great, the unity of the community. Mm-hmm. Do you think it would be even possible to live in this community without being a part of the community? Do you think that's even possible? Excuse me,
we were all a part of the community, like I said, because my mom was a lunchroom manager up there. Everybody knew my mom, and she would let nobody go hungry, and she was an awesome cook, and just made sure everybody was fed. Whether you had any money, she was not, we're not going to be hungry. She just made sure, kids were fed. But it wasn't. Even now, there are a lot of different people. There are white families that live in the neighborhood, and I see people, and our mailbox is right over here by the church, where you got about 12 boxes or whatever. So I get to see people and meet them when I'm over there. People walking their dogs and stuff, and so I'm a friendly person, so I always speak to people and say, you know, I live over here, and you know, they kind of know who I am, and I know who they are, and I've met the people that live up here, and I've met the people that live right over by the church, and family that lives back there that's moved in, and also the people right on the corner over there that I met. And we had in the Springhill neighborhood community, we would meet at Mount Auburn. This was like before COVID, so our meetings now are on Zoom. We haven't started back in person. And Vivian Fowler, who's over, you know, all of this, she's kind of like passed the hat to my daughter. So now my daughter's Monica Frazier, and she's the one who's kind of spearheading, you know, taking over the part that Vivian is kind of passing the torch to her. But we've been real involved. And then my youngest daughter, who's a nurse, Vivian is her godmother. She was also the, you know, assisted with her when she was living over here too. But, you know, my 2 daughters live here in town too. And Monica hasn't always lived here. After college, she was living in Georgia and down Pinellas County, but now she's been living here like about 11 years. Yeah, so we're all here and all doing well.
Do you remember, was there a hospital here? I don't know. I think I heard someone say there was a hospital. This would have been way back in the day, though, before Alachua General.
Okay, my daughter Monica's been doing some research and stuff, and I do remember that my grandmother telling me that she had, when she had surgery at Alachua General, they had a black ward. They were all there together. They had a section that was kind of away from the main portion, and they were all in like one big room because she had a surgery there. And so I remember her telling me that. But there is a ward or whatever. I know some that said, because I read an article in the Guardian, and then my daughter had asked me about it before, but she's done some research, and it was actually kind of a hospital out of a lady's house that she was running it. Yeah, out of a lady's house that she was caring for people. And I think she was a nurse. And also, too, and speaking of that, my grandmother's best friend, and she was also a member of our church, and my sister's godmother, Miss Rosa London, she and Miss Flossie Maxey, they were, I think, about the first 2 black public health nurses, and they would take care of the black areas, and they would go and administer shots. Because I know my husband, who lived out in the Arredondo community, they would come out and, you know, give shots and stuff like at the church. And I remember back in the day, you know, they would come to the schools, because I remember, you know, coming to Lincoln, and even they would, I mean, not Lincoln, but Williams Elementary. And they would also do had you know, dental screenings and stuff like that at the school. So, you know, because, you know, unlike my kids who went every 6 months for cleaning and x-ray and all of that, that wasn't available, you know, when I was a child, and they would do like screenings, you know, come to the schools and all like that. So we had what we needed. You know, we were able to get it, and my family was fortunate enough where, you know, I had 2 working parents, and we had, you know, parents, my grandparents and all, you know, we had the resources to get everything that we needed, is what I'll say like that.
Wow. So continuing on that, you had everything that you needed in the community. So,
yeah, and my parents were very, very free with whatever. Like I said, you could just come to my mom's house anytime and get some food to eat, and everybody knew her and knew her food. And also my grandmother's mother, I could put that in, she was a seamstress, and she made clothes she's a professional seamstress, and she also made hats. And my grandmother said she made hats for a store downtown, and she also worked for this lawyer. She called him Lawyer Goddard. He used to be an attorney here way back in the day, and she did tailored suits for him. So she was a professional seamstress. Yes.
That's amazing. Well, Sophia, do you have any questions you'd like to ask?
Sure. Do I have to do an introduction? I didn't introduce myself.
Yeah.
You can ask me anything. Yeah.
Okay.
My family's been real intertwined and productive in this, you know, in this community in Gainesville and, you know, Springhill community, and it was really good.
So my name is Sophia. I'm a student at UF and originally from Lakeland, Florida, but I also have some family in Gainesville. I have 2 uncles here who both live here with their families. But I was just kind of wondering, as you were talking, I know you mentioned going to UF and you mentioned that your family members were involved in all different parts of the community, including at the school and the cafeteria. So how do you think that How did you feel about education in general back then, about elementary?
Education was always that it was never that we were not gonna go to school and not gonna go. So that was just a part of our family. Everybody, you were gonna go to school and you were gonna do whatever. And I went to UF when times were rough too, because when I was at Gainesville High School, there was riots and stuff every day. School was getting shut down and all. And I graduated on June 16th, and I had to report to UF June 17th because we graduated late because I started that summer, And so it was rough. And then, even in classes, there were not a whole lot of black students there at UF when I came. And so it was a little difficult maneuvering initially because, how people receive you and the professors and all and everything. But fortunately, I was prepared because when I was at Gainesville High School my senior year, they had this what they call a 3-hour block. It was 100 students they had chosen, and we were in like college preparatory stuff. So when I got to UF, a lot of the things we had for English had to do papers on and all. We had covered some of the books, same things they were using when I got to UF. So, and I mean, I did well, and I graduated, so I didn't have any problem. My brother, he went to UF also, and my sister behind me, she went to University of South Florida in Tampa, and my baby sister went to UF for like about 3 years, and then she transferred to Bethune-Cookman in Daytona and graduated from there. So, but we all educated. It was never not that you weren't going to school. I mean, that was just it. It was always, education was always important in our family.
Yeah.
Shoot, whatever.
So kind of going off of that too, and feel free to also just get into other things if I'm asking too much about education, but do you think that people considered only kind of the academic field education, or do you think that it was accepted to go to a vocational school or to right into?
Let me tell you about that. Now, here at Lincoln, there was everything, because everybody's not meant to go to college, don't want to go to college and all that. But one thing about Lincoln High School, there was everything that you need. Not only was it the educational track, there was a cosmetology school there. There was brick mason and all, plumbing, electrician. Everything was there. So if they weren't going to go the channel to go to college, when they came out, they was prepared. And bricklayers made good money, plumbers made good money, the cosmetology class, they came out, so they were already certified and ready to do jobs. When they graduated, they were ready to go to work because they were already trained there. And even because that field behind Lincoln, where on the side there where the cafeteria is, but now it's soccer stuff, there was also like crops and stuff that they grew right there. So anything in the agricultural and all of that, it was there for you. So that everybody didn't have to, if you were not going to go to college, but still when you came out of school, you were equipped to go to work. And those kinds of things, plumbers and all, they make a whole bunch of money. So it was there for you. Schools now don't have that. And we had home economics and all this stuff when I was there, and they taught you how to teach, how to cook and how to sew and all of these things. So when you got out of school, you could get a job at a restaurant or whatever. It's not like that in school now.
Yeah,
but
it's really not.
everybody they came out prepared. I know plenty, students that I know, they were brick masons and bricklayers, and they knew how to set tile, all that stuff, and all those jobs paid lots of money.
Yeah. That's really awesome.
It is, and it was.
I never thought that there would have been so many different opportunities from school because I feel like now they just tell you it has to be college.
Right, and that's just the track that is on now, but it was not that at Lincoln. They had the 2 tracks, so they used to call it DCT because even my husband was in the one where he went to class and after lunch, then they had a job. So, they got students jobs, and so that they had experience too when they finished. And, a lot of the employees, kept them on as, after they graduated, if they were not going to college and stuff like that. But yeah, all of those things were available. That's just not in school in general like that now. And I have 3 grandchildren, and they, it's not like that now in school.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. You say I can talk now.
We hear they're trying to leave out there. So, is there any? We've talked a lot and got some great information. And is there any concluding kind of thoughts you might want to give for future generations about your neighborhood?
Well, I would say, having lived here, that my neighborhood was wonderful. And I remember when I first stepped out, my brother was out there speaking, and he was saying it was like nobody that was beneath anybody. Whatever, neighbors shared, if somebody needed something or whatever. And my grandmother, oh my gosh, she was such a giver. Anybody that needed anything. And my mom, too, she would just feed people, and she loved to cook. And so nobody really went without, and if we had a lot of clothes, you could pass them on to, other people who needed them or whatever. So we just had a close knit, and we just kind of knew everybody. You couldn't get away with stuff because everybody knew you, and because my mom was at the school, everybody knew us, so we knew not to get in any trouble. And people just kind of look out for everybody, and my family was well respected. If somebody was drinking on the corner or whatever, they would straighten up, so it was, my family was well respected. So, and everybody just kind of looked out for everybody. And, we had awesome parents, thank God, we were raised in a 2-parent household, and it was just, it was all good. Everybody, wasn't raised in a 2-parent household, but we, nobody was beneath us, you just lived and, associated with everybody. You knew what we were allowed to do and what we weren't allowed to do. And, we knew we had to stay in this line. But other than that, but that didn't make us any better than anybody else.
Well, with that, I think we will thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us. And
awesome community. I'm proud to be have been raised over here, and proud of the upbringing and the neighbors that I had, because they were all good, and they all helped out in their own way, and everybody has something to offer. You don't have to have a PhD to have something to offer, and and they did.
That's a great thought to conclude on.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.